What a disappointing result. The Giants had an opportunity, multiple opportunities to win this game. In the fourth quarter, they kept giving the ball back to the Commanders, and then they ended up tying it, sending it to overtime. And it was just a frustrating loss because even in overtime, the Giants got the ball. They on one overtime possession, there was a miscue. They were crossing midfield and they were on third down, and essentially like Saquon ran into one of the receivers and Daniel Jones, and there was just there wasn't it was they were unable to put the game away. And then on the final play, the final plays of the game, they were driving and they had to rely on a 58-yard field goal attempt from Graham Gano, and it went short because it's a 58-yard field goal, and those are certainly not automatic. And they lost this game, but I will reiterate that even though the Giants, I think, deserved to win this game based on the positions that they had put themselves in, even though they were down 10-0, had to come back, they were not the more talented team on the field. What sticks out to me with the Giants every single time is that the Giants are one of the least talented rosters in the NFL. And it's a testament to Daboll, Kafka, Wink Martindale that they are in the position that they're in. And I know there are a lot of people who are hating on some of the play calling yesterday because it was incredibly conservative. They were terrified to pass the ball. Daniel Jones was doing a lot of design runs, but the problem is that when you have Daron Payne, when you have Sweat and Chase Young didn't play yesterday, but
Jonathan Allen.
So that Jonathan Allen,
Yeah.
that was who I was really, I not even the ends. I was thinking of, Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen in particular.
Yeah.
They're so good at clogging run lanes that Saquon couldn't really get going. He had a touchdown, but not much. And he's been quieter these past few weeks because he's a running back. And if you play good run defenses, that's what happens. And this is the time of the year when the run defense and defenses in general start to feel themselves. So you see regressions with some of these offenses that are a little less talented. And that's the Giants. Their receiving core is, I mean, besides the Houston Texans, with the weapons that they have, and I say weapons very loosely, clearly, in my opinion, with the injuries, the worst passing options in the entire NFL. I mean, it was rough. It was rough to watch. And Daniel Jones, I think, plays fine. He threw it a little high for Darius Slayton, but he dropped it. I mean, and he also misread the route. Darius Slayton should be an average wide receiver 3 on a team. Not even a very good wide receiver 3. An average wide receiver 3. And he's the top receiver on that team right now, or as of yesterday. And then the other guy that they were trotting out there was Isaiah Hodgins, who is fine, but he didn't even start the season with the Giants. He was a 6th-round pick for the Buffalo Bills that they got in the proverbial trash heap. And those were the 2 starting receivers for the Giants yesterday, plus Richie James, who did have a clutch catch or 2. But the Giants really just do not have the ability to pass the ball because of that reason. And I think it's a lot more on the talent in the receiving room as opposed to Daniel Jones. Don't think Daniel Jones is the franchise quarterback. I think he's earned the right to be the quarterback next year while they figure out what they're going to do. But the point is that the Giants are the least talented team in the NFC East. The reason that they're at this point is because of execution and strong play calling. And I'm annoyed at Giants fans who want to are fuming at Mike Kafka for not throwing the ball more. What's been helpful about the Giants, or what's been encouraging, is that they understand who they are. And they are not able to do that right now. That's the problem. And that's why the expectations for this team need to come down a little bit, because they are definitely one of the least talented teams in the NFL. They have some splashes, but their 2 most talented players on defense outside in the secondary are not playing right now. The defensive line is starting to get a little healthier, so they could limp into the playoffs. But please just understand that this team is not on the level of the Jets, for example, another team in New York that has a lot of talent and is playing to it. It's just a difference it's just the quarterback play that's the controversy. But there are a lot more. The issue is personnel, in my opinion, for
Absolutely,
the Giants.
and I think we're just seeing a more natural regression to the mean a little bit with what the Giants have. In terms of their talent level, and that's nothing to that's nothing to be ashamed of. It's what it's what Brian Daboll was given when he took this job, and what Mike Kafka was given when they came on for their staff. And the Commanders are coming on a little stronger than they were in the beginning of the season. I mean, they got some good really like impressive and catches from Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, and they have Curtis Samuel. It's like they're a pretty high floor team, I would say, in the sense of like you can kind of know what you're going to get from them. They'll most likely be able to do it.
Brian Robinson's really showing off, like
strong, sturdy back who can really push through between tackles and get kind of like move at will, even while like he seems to be getting dragged down by like five other guys. I think we've just been talking about this in terms of there was always potential that when the ingenuity or the kind of boldness or the ambition of the play calling to kind of satisfy or make up for the lack of talent, when that kind of runs dry a little bit, when that's just not as effective or not working as well, it becomes a talent matchup. It becomes just who has more talent on the team. And unfortunately, just with where the Giants are in terms of injuries and in terms of personnel and in terms of spending, they're going to kind of lose that battle sometimes. And that's totally it doesn't, for me, it's just like I don't see any of this as particularly discouraging, because I just think there's so much to be done to develop this team further than what they have on paper and what they have in their roster, and to even just see guys who are not very heralded perform better than expected, like guys like Julian Love and Fabian Moreau. And
I love Julian Love.
Yeah, he's been playing fantastic.
Always makes
Jahad
the smartest
Ward,
play. Yeah,
I think it's more about the future than anything else for these, and it's the same thing I feel with the Bears. It's like, they're playing, the Fields is playing well, and they're losing games, so they're going to get a better draft pick, and Fields is like clearly their number one option now. So I think there are certain things where I'm like, I'm not as concerned about a team overperforming like this and now maybe regressing a little bit than some teams who had a far better outlook coming in and who are not performing.
We can transition into a discussion about the Jets now, but that's really why I was annoyed by the Zach Wilson handling, is because just because you guys are winning now doesn't mean that you divert from your plan. And the Giants,
100%. We're seeing the kind of weirdness that comes with diverting from the plan.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, but the Giants aren't doing that, and that's what's not good.
Yes,
but
exactly.
they're not making any drastic changes to win now, because they understand this is a process of creating a winning structure, and that
100%.
includes personnel, which the Giants don't have, even though I think they're set with a lot of the coaching staff.
Oh, agreed. Totally.